Hey everybody, Rob here. Welcome to today's very, very exciting interview with the CEO of, I so badly want to say it, Shaun, but I'll wait for you. I'll let you do it. This is Shaun Clark, CEO of HighLevel. He's got an incredible announcement today. And then we're going to talk all about AI. So I'm just going to kind of give you the TLDR right there. Huge, exciting announcement. And we're going to talk about AI. You're going to want to stick around to the end. So Shaun, thank you very much for coming and spending your valuable time with us, and welcome.
Hey, thanks a lot. So, well, I always like to talk about some stats. So, HighLevel today, if you don't know us, go look us up, obviously, but serving 50,000 agencies and about 2 million users now, which is really awesome. And the exciting news that no one else has heard except our team this morning is we have made the Inc. 5000. We don't officially know our number yet, so and all of that. And I guess I'm not even supposed to officially say it, but whatever. I love this is the best place to do it if you're going to do it. So super excited about it. Props to everybody. I mean, we wouldn't be here without our customers and our team. So yeah, super exciting announcement, made that Inc. 5000. So really cool day for us.
Unbelievable. Congratulations to you and your whole team. I'm sure it's something that internally you're celebrating, and you should certainly be proud of it. So
Yeah,
on the non-customer, like the non-front side, how many employees do you guys have at this point, speaking of your team? Because I
a
think a
little
lot
over
of people,
600 now, actually.
yeah.
So we're got a couple people now.
Just a few. Oh my gosh. So
I
600.
know. I don't actually like that number so much because it's hard. It feels harder as you get bigger. So
Oh yeah.
I miss the days when we had a lot fewer. But I also know you can't do what we do at the level we do it without having that big of a team.
That's amazing. Okay, cool. So 600 employees, 50,000 agencies, a few million
2
users.
million, yeah, 2 million. It may actually be more than that now. That's just the
Yeah.
last time I checked. But yeah, over 2 million users for sure.
And then this is something that I always see people kind of, like, for lack of a better word, pooping on online. They're like, a lot of these other SaaS gurus or people who claim to be big shots. And I find every person who says this is actually not a big shot. But they say things like, well, you can't get a SaaS valuation with HighLevel. So can we quickly address that? Because I know you tell me all the
Yeah,
time,
just
person.
total garbage nonsense.
Yeah,
Not only have we seen it happen, it was never a theory though. It wasn't like, oh, I wonder if this will work out. If anybody wants to see a really good, I like examples in the real world, right? Because
yeah,
when I think the problem is in life, people will tell you stuff and they say it with such authority, right? Well, I know because I'm an expert. But in reality, I like examples. So
right.
just go look at Salesforce. It's a platform very similar to us. Go look at a company called Viva Systems, and they're publicly traded. They're built entirely on Salesforce. And if you go to the Salesforce Wikipedia page, by the way, there's a bunch of other examples of this. But basically, Viva Systems, publicly traded, built on Salesforce, billion-dollar publicly traded company. It doesn't matter. We are built on platforms. Also, I'll let the cat out of the bag. We use platforms like AWS or Google Cloud or Stripe. And without these systems, they're very important. Like without them, we would cease to exist instantly. We would just vanish into the ether. So the reality is no one cares. And if you've actually done this for real in the real world, and I can speak for myself having done it once, but I talked to hundreds of private equity and VC folks. They're business folks, they're finance folks. So they're whipping out their spreadsheets, they're looking at your revenues, they're looking at your profits, they're looking at your business model. Do they want to know that like the platforms you've built on are like solid and good? Absolutely. But that's not really their focus. Their focus is, are the customers real? Is the business growing? Is the revenue there? And if so, that's where the valuation is going to come in. They're going to look at the business metrics. They're not going to look at the technicalities. They're not going to ask you for your source code. They're finance people. They're not programmers.
Totally, right. And all the PE people that I've talked to and that I know personally, and I know some of them outside of just having a quick chat with them, they care about things like cash flow, profit margins, recurring revenue or subscription rate, churn rate. Like that, those are all the big things they look at. They care about those platform questions as, excuse me, as a, like you famously said this, on somewhere buried on page 238, row B, section 14. It's like, okay, we built this on HighLevel. It'll transfer, whatever.
And we're just one of many, right? That's the other thing I think people gloss over. Even the newest white label partner has several other vendors that they depend on. And so even if you had to make a list on that day, we're one of 5 people, right? But most, and then as you grow, when you get to this level, we're one of 20 people. And I've done this before. Actually, I gotta take that back. This is my second business. So the first business I sold, same process. It was, hey, what are all your vendors? And you list all of them. And really what they're asking for is, can I take the contract you have with that person and slide it over to my name and nothing changes for me? And if the answer is yes, that's all. That's the check mark they're looking for, which makes a lot of sense if you put yourself in their shoes, but it's not radically complicated either.
Yeah, it's like, okay, do you do your books on QuickBooks? Rad. Can we just keep it there?
Cool.
Right? Yeah.
Can I get QuickBooks, your QuickBooks account moved over to my name? Yes. Okay, cool. Can I do that with Stripe? Yes. Cool. Can you do it? I mean, same thing. Can you do it with HighLevel? Cool. So yeah,
awesome.
super.
Okay. I just wanted to cover that because it's just been a hot topic of conversation, and I think people are interested in things like that, although they might not stop to ask it. So thank you for that.
I totally agree with that. I think it's one of those things where you don't really consider it until later, and then if it comes up, you know, you're like, oh no, have I made a mistake or this or that? No, you haven't. In fact, if anything, I think what you're going to find is you're going to get the opposite. They're going to cheer you on. They're going to say, wait a second, you didn't go out and try to do this from scratch, and which is very hard to do. Instead, you rocketed ahead to the point where you're making money. That's a much better cost model to work off of than trying to do this from scratch.
For sure. And, you know, just so for the viewers, I know a couple of dozen people, most of them are people that I've helped directly grow their agency on HighLevel. And so a couple dozen, this is not like theory either, who've gotten a SaaS valuation from a PE or M&A person, so private equity or mergers and acquisitions type person. It doesn't mean that they necessarily took it, but they're getting SaaS valuations on this stuff, guys, and you can too. So if you think about it, you know, if you build a platform, let's say you charge $1,000 a month, I'm just choosing a nice round number for your system is what I would call it. It's not even just the tool, right? So it's whatever your goodness is plus the tool equals your system. Let's say you charge $1,000 a month for that. You have 100 clients. That's $100,000 a month. That's $1.2 million per year. And if you're getting a SaaS valuation on that, you can get 5x, 8x, 10x, 12x. Depending on how unique it is, it could be upwards, you know, even higher than that. But here's the thing, guys, is that's a really, really nice payout, payday. And if you are not ready to sell yet, or you want to continue to grow the business, you're cash flowing while you build it up.
Yeah, and that's how I think about it. I think the way to think about it is whether you want to do this upfront or down the road, you always keep that optionality open for you. But the most important thing is you're not wasting your time. You're not just like creating something that can't be sold later.
Agreed. So, okay. So hopefully you guys believe that can be done, because what we're about to show you next is literally going to be what I think is going to be the windfall, no brainer, you know, feature of the decade, probably, right? To lead with, so that you can get that $1,000 a month and easily go out and I'm saying that it's not, I shouldn't say easily, that you can a simple way to go out and get 100 customers is probably the best way to say it. You still have to work, you still have to get it. And this is not an income claim by any means, guys. I'm not saying this is get rich quick, or like if you do nothing, you can expect nothing, put it that way, right? But I think what Shaun's about to show you as far as AI goes is by far the easiest way, in other words, the lowest path of, the least path of resistance to get to those elusive 100 SaaS or system clients, right? So Shaun, can we jump in and show them?
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
How to make some money.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So first and foremost, before I start jumping into the technicalities of this, I think that it's all about, we always think at HighLevel, how do we help you make more money, right? Yeah. And a lot of times it's a foot in the door concept, right? Or it's an add-on that you can use to charge more for your clients. And I think this can be both. But let's just take a step back on AI real quick. So when AI first came out, what was it? It was really about, hey, this is a thing where you can ask it questions and it can tell you stuff and it's really cool. And then I can use it to cheat on my college paper. And then all of a sudden it can create images, and all of that is cool to look at. But I think what our challenges and where we create a lot of value is taking this technology all the way to the end client and putting it in place in a way that actually creates an outcome for them in their business that isn't just cool to tell their friends about or say they saw on YouTube, but actually say, like, I use this every day to actually get me more customers, right? And so that's exactly what this is. So this is conversation AI. And what's really powerful about it is it's so if you know anything about HighLevel, really real quick here, we are built at with sub account level, and it's multi-tenant by design. And what that means is we're looking at this from the eyes of a client. So think about like Bob the plumber or Jim the lawyer or Jenny the doctor or whatever. This is going to be their account. So AI, we design AI to live at the sub account level. And this is a really key reason. We want to make it simple. So that when you set it up, you're setting it up for all the different channels. So you can see right here, basically I'm in settings. I'm in the conversation AI section in settings. And what I'm doing here is I can choose what my supported channels are. And what that means is, listen, whether if it's an SMS, I don't care where it came from or how it got done, the AI is going to try to attack it. I can choose Instagram, Facebook, we'll have WhatsApp here in very short order. Basically, you're just choosing which channels you want the AI to participate in. So that's the first thing. It's very easy to say just that. And then from there, we have 3 modes. We have off, which I don't recommend. We have suggestive, which I actually don't recommend either. And we have auto reply. Now, the difference between auto and suggestive is when you're on the conversation screen. So we've all seen the conversation screen. When you're sitting here, as you're typing, what's happening is you're actually able to go in and have the AI suggest a response to you. And I think that's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I think full auto is the way to go. And so full auto literally is, no, we're not going to do any suggesting here. We're just going to, the AI is going to actually do the replies for you and just go to town. So that's the most important part here. So then next up is a couple of things here. Remember, we're trying to do this to help our customer achieve something. So the idea that we started with here, and this is all the way back to what we learned from Rob many years ago, which is it's all about taking leads and turning them into booked appointments. Because if you're not creating that outcome, you're not creating enough value, you're not doing anything. But that middle piece that Rob all taught us about is the nurture. That was always the missing link between the initial inbound lead and the actual booked appointment. Now, initially when HighLevel came out, and thanks to Rob and a lot of the things he taught us, we were able to really make a huge impact here, which is before leads were coming in, they're being put on spreadsheets, clients were calling them, they weren't getting any customers, they were canceling. So we turned this on through SMS, we did initial outreach, and we could do some really cool stuff like, hey, thanks for registering for my amazing offer. Would you like to book an appointment? Here's my calendar link. And right there, we were taking on and getting we were taking it from a 0% booking rate to like a 50% booking rate, which is huge, right? But it was always that elusive, like, well, I do want to book, but I have a question. Do you guys carry, blue widgets, or do you have a 2022 Ford Explorer in yellow on the lot, right? When people would ask these questions at that point in the past, we had to just basically flip back to the customer and hope that they would actually be able to answer that question timely enough to make the sale. But now with Conversation AI, all of that goes out the window, because now we can truly use AI to take and answer those questions in really informative, amazing ways. So the way this all works here is fairly simple. So once you set the AI bot up, you need to train it. We've all heard about training. We've heard about how difficult training can be, but we've tried to make this super easy. And the way we're doing this for you is just that. You literally come in and you're going to put in a URL, and it doesn't matter. You can use you can use multiple URLs. You can choose whether you want to have us basically put a website in, and you just say, just look at this one page, or I want you to crawl the whole website. So you literally are going to come in here. You're going to put Bob the Plumber's website right in this field here, and we'll use my favorite Eugene. Oh, I can't spell it, but that's okay. Google's got my back. HVAC company that the only people I still have as a single location business. So you're literally going to come in here, you're going to copy that URL, you're going to paste it in here, and you're literally going to go ahead and hit get data. And when you do, it's going to throw that at the bot, and it's actually going to train the bot. And then from there, you're done. You've given it all that information. Now, obviously, you can add more things later, this and that. And you can also come down here and you can also be very laser focused, and you can actually say, hey, for this FAQ style situation, I want to say, for this question, I want this answer. So if it's not on the website, you can actually give it very specific entries as well. But all of that then wraps up to train the bot, and it goes back into this real-time response thing that we have going on here, where we can actually then have that bot take that training, take it into the channels, and just start making things happen. Does that all make sense so far?
It super does. And if anyone is like, oh, that seems super basic, you cannot sleep on the speed to lead thing. Okay. It's like, it always has been and always will be a huge problem for business owners. And the smaller the business owner, the bigger the problem, right?
It's everything.
So you have to realize that somebody is like, I need a yellow truck, just to go with your example. And they're searching through Google locally. They're like, I want to go to a dealership, let's just say, and buy a yellow truck. Well, the first person to respond gets the business 80% of the time, 80% of the time. So that is literally the game, right? It's whoever responds first is likely going to get the sale, right? So if you can, like previously as an agency owner, you'd be like, oh, look, I got you a lead. And then they'd be like, oh, cool. It's been sitting in the spreadsheet all day. I was busy. I was talking to other customers. Right. And then you go to contact that lead, and they're cold. Of course, they're like, oh, I already moved on and bought my yellow truck or whatever. Or they just don't respond.
Exactly. Yeah. This is where all the money goes. And it doesn't even matter if you're running, like, this is the funniest thing. Like, and it doesn't matter if you're running ads. I don't care if this is organic traffic, any way you're getting traffic to a business, this defines success and failure for that business, period.
100%. And previously it was either you blamed your client or they said, well, then you do it for me. How much does that cost? Right.
Yeah.
And now we have this great thing where neither one of you have to do it. You can train this
That's right.
bot and it's going to be cheaper than you could hire someone you could pay someone internally in your agency, right, to do this. And it's cheaper for the client because if they hired somebody internally, humans take vacations, they get sick, they have accidents, they want time off, like all this stuff, right?
They're
And
expensive.
they sleep, they're not 24/7, right? So how much does it cost a small business owner to have somebody have accurate answers 24/7, never take a break? Well, there's no way that they can find something more efficient than this. And
No
this
way.
gets the job done, right?
Well, and here's how I think about this. We have a lot of debates internally, like, well, how do you position this? Do you position it as human, this and that? And we've watched this technology for a long time, and it's not until recently it's gotten to the point where it's really, really good, like solidly, awesomely good. And
Boom.
the way I think about it is, in the future, every business is going to have some kind of chatbot technology. They may not call it that. It may not present that way, but I think it will be there. And here's why it's going to happen. So live chat, I used to say this all the time, live chat has been around for 20 years now. The reason it never took off was because the person on the other end was never there at the business at the right time to answer the question. And then the initial AIs that we all saw, they were just garbage. Like I used to say, have you ever talked to a robot? Did you ever get a good answer that you wanted? And everyone will say, oh no, those are terrible. But that has now changed. Like, that's the big thing here. So now when you're talking to these bots, and you can see one of the awesome features the team put in is, let's say you do all this training, you set this all up, and you're like, yeah, but is it going to work? What's cool is you can actually come in here and you can actually talk to the bot and throw it scenarios, and you can see exactly how it responds. And if you don't like it, you can actually fix that. And I'll actually show that to you here in a second. But I actually went through this earlier with the bot, and then you can reset the conversation, start over. But what you'll see is that the contextual answers are really, really, really good. And then what's nice is, like, when you try to fake it, like this person said, oh yeah, are you looking to live alone or with your family? I said, who wants to live alone? That sounds depressing. First of all, if you don't like that response, like, oh, I don't like to say like a live alone, you just be like, hey, are you single or do you have a family? Like, you can resculpt the question. That's A, you can do that, which is nice. But then B, it's like, oh, I apologize if my question was unclear, right? It's not. So this is actually a really good pickup by the bot. And it's really me trying to throw a snarky answer at it, but it's doing a really good job of just sort of like keeping me on my way without saying like, does not compute, right? So I thought that was really, really, really neat. And I thought they did a great job here. But the point is that you can not only get great answers, but now you can also move them towards great outcomes. And so what's happening here is we're buying a house. That's the kind of the way this bot is structured. And if you look over the settings, what we're doing is, what we've told the bot is, before we let them book, I really need to know the following answers. And this is really cool because some people, and I think of like the traditional mortgage loan kind of scenario where people like, you need to know credit score, or you need to, know certain, like, do you have a down payment, things like that. You can actually force people through those questions before they're allowed to book. So that's another part of the bot that I think they did a great job. And all of this is really around the real world use cases that we see every day with businesses. So when you walk into a business and you're saying, listen, hey, I can show you how to turn all of this traffic into booked appointments automatically, you really mean it. And when they say, yeah, but we really need to know if they're in our area, right? Because maybe we get leads from outside our service area and we hate those. Well, you can actually force the bot to get that person to answer that question. So that way you can filter out anybody who isn't in that service area before you allow them to book. So I think the team has done such a great job making this super simple.
Wow, that's impressive, man. Cool. So what do you think is the best way, I guess, let's say you're new to AI. I think most people are still, right?
It's a very new and very rapidly changing environment for sure.
Yeah. So like, let's say you want to lead with this service.
Yep.
To your clients, right?
Yep.
What do you think is the best way to like position that conversation with them and also demo it for them so they believe what you just described? Meaning like,
perfect. Yes.
The solution is better than it was before.
Yeah.
Because like,
let's
the thing, right?
That, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is, listen, it's the same pitch, in my opinion, is like the missed call text back conversation. Essentially, it's, hey, listen, You have people come to your website every single day and you're missing them. You're not converting them. And you don't even know it because they're not contacting you. They're coming to your website and they're leaving. And fundamentally, you need to recapture those people. But the problem is you can't do that because you're not always available. So I'll tell you what, I'll put this little snippet of code on the website, and I'll just show you. I'll just prove it to you. We'll just start converting traffic over right now. And I can do this today. I can even do it for free, right? Because it's very low cost. And then from your perspective as the seller, all you're really doing is creating a sub account in HighLevel. You're coming in here, you're turning on full auto reply, and you're throwing out their URL into to get trained. And that's it. That's literally where you're starting. And I think here's what's so important about this. Forget success or failure out of the gate. Just think about the idea that you put the chat widget on the website and you're able to show activity. Like you're able to show this person, listen, we are getting people to engage. We are getting people in here right there. That is massively valuable because those people were in fact not actually talking to that business prior to this, right? They were going to the website and they were bouncing off. And this happens all the time. We all know website design is terrible for most people, but more importantly, when you get to a website, you don't know what to do. So that chat widget is a rock solid way to do it. And today you can do that and you can capture the lead and that's awesome. But now you can actually start conversating with the lead. And it's really cool. We're early days on this, but I think it's later this quarter. I was going to show a couple of the enhancements here. So a couple things here. One is if you are looking at a conversation, you see these up and down arrows or thumbs. If you say that you don't like a response, you can actually train it dynamically. So you can say, oh, nope, actually, I didn't like that response. You can update it. And then you can see right here that the bot got retrained because you downvoted it. So you can actually do this in real time, or you can have your client do it, and that will make the bot radically faster, right? And then we're also going to be today we have a SMS mode, which is awesome, but people have always asked us for live chat mode. I'm going to get there, sorry. And I hate live chat mode, and I'll tell you why. It's because it was so terrible. Maybe this isn't on this screen, but it's somewhere. But anyways, we're going to add live chat mode because the thing I hated about live chat is it didn't work. And it's because and my retort was always like, we'll put live chat on there and see how bad it's going to be because your client's not there within 10 seconds to reply. But now they will be, and the responses will actually be good. So you'll literally be able to create a live chat option for your clients and move people through right there in context. And I'm excited. I mean, again, these are really early days, so we'll just see how the world turns. But the way I sort of think about this is, in the past, it was about capturing the lead and nurturing them over SMS because of the fact that you needed to get your client involved at some point. I think AI is quickly getting to the point where we can do a lot of that in real time on the website without switching context. And I think this idea of capturing leads may go down in many cases, because it's really just that we can do the nurture real time right there on the website and not have to kick them out to some form and come back to them later.
Yeah, because the conversation is where the money is, right? Like, so if you can engage somebody in a conversation, right, that might be the new metric, and it's activity based initially, because guess what? Nobody is counting the amount of conversations that they're having on the website, for example, because they're not having any, right? So
exactly.
It's like step one is have conversations from your website, right? It's like
100%. And I think the way to think about this is not a high bar, because the vast majority of people coming in are coming in off an offer, or they're coming in from a traffic source where they're laying down the search terms of what they're looking for. So these people are not like this, they're obviously are high ticket sales situations and scenarios and so forth. But again, even there, if you're structuring your stuff right, you're trying to create an easy entry point. But for the vast majority of consumer transactions with businesses, it's, I'm going to hire a plumber. I just need some information to get to the next step. Or oftentimes I just want to take the next step, and there just isn't an easy way to do that on the website. And so I think by interjecting a little bit of conversation AI, there'll just be radical results. And again, it's about simplicity of setup, which I think the team has just crushed here. And it's about making it easy for you to deploy and show your client. And I think even if you have just your own demo website where you have your own demo bot, I also think that's a killer way to do it, because you just say, hey, listen, go to this website and it sells, widgets or cars or whatever, and just chat with the bot and see how it goes. Right. And I think right there, you can make a huge impression on people.
And I think, that old quote, it's features tell, stories sell, right? That's a common sort of like little phrasing thing within the online marketing / SaaS community, right? That's sort of the old adage, let's call it, right?
Yeah,
And the coolest features that I like, so the reason why I love something like Missed Call Text Back is because it's very easy to demonstrate. Like you can do it within seconds, right?
totally.
This had that same effect, which is, hey,
Yep.
try it instead of me explaining it to you, just
Yeah,
try
just
it.
go to this website and try it out.
Right. And there's another old school, like if you're selling in person, especially, or you could do this remotely as well, but having the device that they're seeing it on in their hands, or let's say it's their computer or their phone,
Yep.
or you hand your phone to them to show this to them.
Yep.
There's a subtle psychological old school sales, like if you're in an Apple store, right? The reason why they let you pick up all the devices and everything is because when you pick it up, you're like way more likely to buy it. I don't even know what the stats are.
Absolutely.
But
100%.
so if you put that conversation into their hands and they're the ones playing with it, I think everybody's going to go, oh my gosh, my sales are skyrocketing because these people are believers because they just experienced it themselves, right?
Exactly.
You're not even like showing it to them, like they're experiencing it and going, you know what, that is pretty good, right?
It's totally true. I mean, it's why you get to test drive cars. It's why they give you samples at the grocery store. I mean, all that stuff. And by the way, it has this, we call it's called reciprocity. And so when you give someone something, right, it puts this thing in their brain of having to owe you something, right? It helps
Yes.
them take that next step. It's like, it is why they give you free samples at the grocery store. It's because it helps sell that product. Because now you feel like, oh, I got a free sample. I liked it. I sort of feel compelled to buy it. And I think we can all think of times when maybe I can think of Costco in particular, where I bought way too much of something that in that small amount was great, but in the large amount was terrible. But I bought it because I felt almost like I had to
Guilty.
because I tried the sample. Yeah,
The
right.
guilt trip, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You just owe people something. I mean, it's like, and so I ultimately think this is why these demos are so great. And the nice thing is the demo price, cost in time and money is almost zero. And you can easily scale this up. I mean, I'm not a huge, I hate to get cold email. I think the right cold emails actually are great. I mean, this is the kind of thing where you could say, hey, listen, I'm in the mortgage space. Here's a demo website, click on it, check it out or whatever. And if you want one for yourself, let me know. I can whip one up in 30 seconds and blammo, you
Oh
can
my
really show
gosh.
the value of this type of thing.
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm glad, this is a perfect segue. Can we talk about costs, how you might price it? Can we build margin
Yes.
in just like with email and SMS, et cetera?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so just remember, we never think, oh, hey, we're going to stop by selling something to you. We think about how are you going to make money off of this? And I think there's two. So we're going to give 2 lanes of travel here. And I think that's important because optionality is key. So there'll be like a usage cost. So let's just say you've got like somebody who's like either cheap or you just want to get them started, or they're going to be a low user. You can charge like think about it like per message. So you can do like a per message kind of thing, kind of like an SMS kind of costing model if you want to. Or let's just say you have someone who's like, I'm going to blow the doors off this thing, but I don't want to pay like an unlimited amount. So we're going to give you like a flat fee. And I can't remember. I think it's like $49. We're messing with it right now. But the idea is then, yes, both of those you mark up. So you're like, oh yeah, for $97 a month, you can actually do unlimited numbers of these, right? Or you could say, oh, for X cents a message, you can do, as many as you want, but you also only pay for what you use, right? Like, so we'll give you both of those pricing options pretty much out of the gate. So you're making money on this deal from day one.
That's awesome. So it's sort of a like all you can eat buffet sort of pricing plan. And then
Exactly.
if you just want to charge usage plus, like, so
Yep.
in other words, every time they use it, they have a micro payment and you make a little bit of margin on each payment. Is that
Exactly.
okay?
Precisely. You got it.
Cool. So one of the things I always think about when you tell us to sell something is like, how scalable is it? Right.
Yep.
In other words, if it was just me, like, let's say I had to start all over again. Right. And
Yep.
I love this question because I get it a ton. I see people asking it a ton. I think even when you're experienced and you've sort of gotten a lot of clients pregnant, I call it, or gotten a lot of problems pregnant, meaning you come in and try to be Captain Save a client, right? And I'm serious. And you go
Oh,
in
I know. I'm laughing because I see it all the time.
oh, me too. And I was the biggest offender of this, by the way. I wanted to save everybody I met, ran into, whatever, right? So, but you come in and try to solve every single problem for their business. What I see the most successful people doing in this space, and they are also the most helpful people to their clients, by the
Yeah.
way. What they do is they take a problem that they know that they can solve for every business or nearly every business that they run into in a specific category. Could be a niche, it could be a, by sorted by problem, whatever the case may be, right? And they say, okay, I know that when I see a business like this, like you said, I spend maybe 1 hour setting it up for them at max. And I know once that thing is turned on, it becomes like the utility bill, right?
Totally.
And can I do that for 100 or more people in general? That's the first question I ask. And then the second question is, if I got 100 of them today or this week or this month, could I handle them all? Right. And to me, this passes that test beautifully. Right.
Absolutely.
So there's
100%.
no possible way that you could build 100 custom websites in a month, but like manually. Right. So
And even if you could, you would not love the outcome of that.
no. Yeah. So how would you handle that? How would you have to price it? Well, you'd have to say no to some people to solve that problem for them, right?
That's true.
You'd have to take a lot of the manual work out of it, et cetera, et cetera. So, to me, I'm always like, can this be productized to where the assembly line is like works as cookie cutter as possible for
Yep.
each client that I say yes to? And can I get that to where they view it as a utility bill to where it's a no-brainer for them to pay that bill each and every month, right? And to me, I think that this not only passes that test, I think it exceeds it,
Yeah.
because AI is a new buzzword. It's, I think for the next 5 to 10 years, there will be a segment of businesses that are just like, okay, I've heard about this stuff. Just no one's, like you said, in the cold email, no one's presented it properly to me. No one's educated me on how it works and how simple it can be.
Yep.
And so there's this wave of people out there that are going to need to be moved onto AI so that they can profit and benefit from it. It may as well be you, right?
Totally. And this is where I see the world going. I mean, I think that there will be inbound interest from customers forever. People will have questions. And again, I think AI is not a cure-all for everything. It's just an awesome way to lead the front end, right? And this is where most businesses struggle. It's where most businesses lose out on all their business. It's the sort of thing where you always ask, do you need more leads? And they say yes, but in reality, they just don't realize how many leads just slip right through their fingers every single day. And it's this problem that this solves, right? It's, hey,
Right.
I'm over here, I want to buy something, but you're not there for me to buy it because you're out doing what it is that you're doing. And when businesses really look at solving for this, it's expensive, right? They'd have to hire a bunch of people, but they don't work 24/7 and this and that. They couldn't afford that anyway. Okay, they could hire an external party, but how does that all work? And that's kind of expensive. And can they answer all of my different channels? Probably not. So then that doesn't work, right? So on and on it goes. And this is the type of solution that radically lowers the cost of solving for that and also attacks it in a way that's super, super scalable, right? And you could even create a Loom video with a 5-minute setup process to tell your client to go do it once you start. So if you got overwhelmed, you literally could just create that Loom video and send it out to everybody like, hey, here's a set of instructions. Go put your website on here. Hey, you make a change. Here's how you refresh that, whatever. And you get the new training in there, bada bing, bada boom. And that's it. It's working and scalable. And there's no way in the world that you fast forward 2, 3, 4, 5 years, everyone doesn't have this deployed. Because as a consumer, it's kind of like, I think of it like tap to pay. Like when tap to pay first came out, it was novel and it was cool. But now, gosh, it's so nice to not leave my house with more than one thing. I just can leave it with my phone, and some people can just do it with their watch, right? Like, and now if you don't have tap to pay, I'm just like, oh gosh, where's my card? You know what? I'm going to mark you as a place to avoid in my life if I can, because you're just inconvenient. But here, I think this is something very similar. I think it starts with, wow, that's novel and cool. And turns out like, gosh, what do you mean you don't have an AI bot that 24/7, 365 on demand can do 90% of what I need to do to get started with or interact with or do something with your business? Like there's just no way that's not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that as SaaSpreneurs, as systempreneurs, as agency owners, as media buyers, maybe some of the folks are buying media for clients.
Yeah.
We often feel so responsible for this client getting, fresh eyeballs, but they're not responsibly taking care of the traffic that they already have, which is potential buyers, right? And so With this playbook, this is what I love is we always felt somewhat responsible for generating the conversation previously. With this strategy, and there's a couple other like missed call text back and things like that, but with this strategy in particular, I think it's so effective so quickly that all you need to do is follow 3 simple steps, right? Step 1 is to find a client already getting traffic. So Google something like Sean just did, the HVAC in Eugene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and be like, oh, someone's on the first page. That means they're getting traffic, guys. That means you don't have to solve that problem for them. They're already getting a certain amount of traffic, right? Thing two would be to see, oh, are they running Google ads? So look at the ad section, right?
Oh, yeah.
Super easy. It's like they're paying for ads. How much bigger of a pain point is that,
Totally.
right? Thing 3 is go to social channels and see, like in Facebook, you can look up and see who's running ads for local businesses in that area, right? So they're already paying for ads. They've already gotten that far, right? They're just pooping the bed with the traffic that they're getting, right? Which is expensive. They're not monetizing the leads. They're not engaging in conversations. They're not being added to their CRM to follow up with later. There's a million bad things that happen when they don't do this. So you come in and say, I understand you're already getting traffic. I looked at your website. It's on the first page of Google for HVAC Eugene, right? Cool. That problem solved. We're not going to try to offer more traffic.
We're not taking your ads. We're not changing your deal there.
It's
we're
like,
just going to make you net more money.
Right. So, let's generate more conversations from that traffic guaranteed. Wouldn't that be nice if I could fulfill on that for you? Right. So you find that person, turn this thing on for free, prove that the leads that they're already getting, they're not capturing, but just by turning it on for one day, they'll be like, crap, you got me 12 conversations I didn't have yesterday. Right. And then you go, cool. How much is this worth to you to keep the lights on? Right. So if you got 12 in one day, what's 12 times 30? Maybe subtract some of the customer service stuff out if that is applicable, right? So, okay, not all of them are sales opportunities, fine, but 12 times 30 divided by 2, let's just say 50% of them are. Let's do some quick math. How much is an average sale worth to you, right? Boom, it's like a lot, 30 grand, 50 grand, whatever. So that's literally what we're helping you do. Wouldn't it be a no-brainer for us to turn this on and keep it on for $1,000 a month? Yes or no? Guys, it's a no freaking brainer. And if they balk at that price, be like, okay, you can go back to the old way, which is like not getting any business from all this page 1 traffic that you're getting. That's fine. I'm just going to go to the next guy down in the Google list, which is what your customers are doing too. Right. And think about the oof factor with that. It's like, oh, he's going straight to my competitor and offering this same thing. Right. So I think that the play for you as the agency owner is and like, I don't mind saying that to them so they understand the gravity of what they're losing. Right. Like I wouldn't say it in a jerk way to make them feel bad about themselves.
You're just trying to say, look, you're losing out.
You're missing out on an opportunity. Yeah. You're missing out on this opportunity. I'm making it as easy as possible for you. Right. And you're not going to find it any easier, cheaper, or better, probably. Right. So it's something like that. I mean, I love this for that. You don't need to, you can find it. And guys, there's in the local scene, this is such an easy play because as many niches as you can Google for one city is your market.
Yeah.
Right. So
100%.
My goodness.
Well, and if you've ever spent any time with local business owners, I always used to talk about this. This hasn't changed. Like realize every local business owner loves what they do, or at least knows how to do what they do. And what they want to do is just that one thing. So if you're the plumber, like whether you love replacing toilets or not, that's actually what you're good at. And you don't know how to drive traffic and convert leads and this and that, and what you're looking for in life, what you're looking for more than anything else is for someone who can just like drop customers on your door who are ready to be served. And that person is worth their weight in gold. And rewind before Conversation AI. What I used to say is like, gosh, it'd be great if people could run ads, create landing pages, and then have a bunch of call center reps essentially, or VAs or whatever you want to call them, call out, confirm the customer, get them financed and this and that. And that worked as an idea, except for the fact that no one could do that last piece because it was too hard, right? Yeah. Conversation AI radically changes that game. It's totally, that world is now within reach because now like if you need to, and we'll continue to expand this too, like on the financing front, maybe you need them to fill out a form or something, we'll work through that. But really in essence, 99% of the time, it's just booking the silly appointment. And it's anything that comes up before that appointment. When people ask, well, how much does it cost? Or do you offer financing or this or that? And again, think about it. If you are in the shoes of the actual plumber or whoever, they answer these questions day in and day out with, the least amount of specificity required because they're not idiots. They're kind of like, oh yeah, we offer that, or no problem. We can get you financed or this. We just need you to book an appointment so we can come out and give you an estimate or whatever it is. And most people, they're like, okay, great. That's the process. That's the process. They buy right in, they go right out, they make it happen. But where this all falls apart is when those questions come up and there aren't good answers. But conversation AI rocks this use case. I'm telling you, it's the simplest sale you could imagine. And long-term, that's what you become. You become the sole source of their customer base, and they love you for it because the cost that you can do it at is now so low that you're making huge margin, you're making huge profit, but they also see it as a sustainable thing. In the past, what happened here was simple. People would be like, I'm going to charge, $1,000 a month plus ad spend, or $2,000 a month plus ad spend. And you just get these insane bills going to these small businesses. And it didn't matter how successful you were being. They just look at them. They'd be like, how on, God's green earth here can I imagine affording anything that's $4,000 a month? I just can't imagine it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My brain just cannot go there. But now it's $300 a month. It's $1,000 a month. It's a price they can afford consistently because you look like the utility bill, right? And so it's very sustainable. It's very scalable, and you can take it out to everybody in your local community, everybody in your niche, you name it, you can do it.
Yep, absolutely. A couple of questions I have for you. Number one, if someone wants to get started right away, what do they have to do to, start offering this to their clients or play with it, test it? How do they get going? Do they just log in now and try it? Is that?
Yeah. So I'm not actually, Rob, of course, always gets the scoops whenever possible. So today you'll see, I'll put a release video out in HighLevel where you can go out and you can actually start doing the demo thing where you can talk to the bot and this and that. And then it should be out. And so this full setup that we demoed today could probably be out next week or the week after. So it's very, very, very close. So you can actually then do everything I just showed you on screen and go out and actually just make that happen for your clients. But today you can actually go in and already start conversating with the bot in the back end. For the enterprising of you, you'll figure out how to make the sale today because that's a lot easier way to do it. But we're right there. And the cool part about this isn't going to be released to people without a lot of testing. We've actually been testing this with a couple really big customers behind the scenes. So we know that the conversations are good because we've used it with their customers that they are already serving. So we know that the training works the way I told you. We know that the outcomes work the way I described. We know all of the quality is there. Because for me, that was the big issue with this type of technology. I've seen a lot of AI in the past, and a lot of it is terrible. And the only good AI I used to see was stuff where someone spent just copious amounts of hours on it, and it was just like it felt like creating a custom car. It was like so cool when it was done, but if you didn't have an expert, you couldn't run the thing. But now it's to the point where it's so easy to roll out. And almost anybody can do it. In fact, I'd say anybody can do it. I mean, I can do it, so that's a pretty low bar. So I think that it's just a hugely scalable technology, and now it's time to really go out there and make it happen.
Amazing. I love it. Okay, cool. Also, what conversation sources can this be used on? Because I think a lot of people forget about the DMs as a traffic source for local businesses.
Instagram DMs, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, SMS, Google My Business messaging, which, by the way, if you don't even know what is it called? Google Business Profile messaging or whatever. I keep changing the darn name, but point is because that's a huge new channel. We're actually going to be adding Apple Business Chat here shortly, so that'll be available there as well. So that'll go out. WhatsApp, if I didn't say that earlier, I make sure I say WhatsApp because that's huge outside of the United States. And really, honestly, in any channel that is available, we're going to try to make it available for especially the real-time stuff. That's where this really crushes. We can all get back to emails whenever, but it's that, hey, I need this answer kind of now. And then of course the live chat option that I just, which is also coming out this quarter. So you can actually do live chat. So live chat on their website. We didn't have that before. Now we have that. It'll be part of the platform. It's a checkbox. It's super easy to turn on. So all of those different live channels. And the great news is it should perform equally well in all of them because it's literally just a different way to do real-time messaging with people. And the same questions will come in, the same type of person will be there. It's just trying to meet your customer where they stand. And that's another big benefit here, right? Because a lot of these businesses are probably not utilizing all these channels. So when you come in and say, well, we have this cool AI and this and that, and you can say, oh yeah, by the way, do you have Facebook Messenger set up? No. Oh, what about Instagram DMs? No. Oh, that's weird. It's like you create these opportunities for yourself to also open doors and give these people more leads that they're probably missing out on now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing that happens too, that's sort of like a ghost benefit, if you will. It's almost like, when you're doing your taxes, there's hidden benefits sometimes, right? With certain investments and things like that.
Wait a second, I can deduct that.
Yeah, yeah, right. So, but there's a lot of small business owners feel like social channels are a waste of time because they get irrelevant stuff in their DMs, right?
Ah,
So a lot of the filtering, like this kind of depends on niches, like a little bit, but you can position this as one of the benefits, one of the many ones, as a filtering tool, right? It's like,
yeah.
so instead of spending all day sifting through all the leads, maybe you are good at that already, or maybe you do get the notifications on your phone, but there's a process to sort of vet them or figure out,
Oh yeah,
if the job size is big enough for you to, whatever the case may be.
totally.
Like, dude, you could train that bot so they could be doing like 3 times more jobs, per day versus sitting around trying to figure out which people are serious about their deck build or whatever.
Oh,
So
totally.
I think that there's multiple angles, and the more channels that you add to it, the more you become like the utility bill. So if they
Well,
have web chat, it's more chat.
and even people like think about people who say, "Oh, well, I already have a front desk person that that I'm fine." Right? There's an opportunity there because you're like, well, okay, but what if I can take a job that they're doing now and replace it with this, and then you can have them go do a whole heck of a lot of other great things. Now, of course, just so you know, they're lying to you. I mean, they think that this person's getting all the calls and this and that,
Oh,
but they're not, because that person's already being overtaxed and overstretched. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to prove that to them. You just say, well, why don't we take that person and allow them to do other things and have this actually do the front end for that person. So even when there's like that pushback, that's an easy way for you to say, well, wait a second, I can save you a truckload of money here. Now you don't have to hire 2 people, or you don't have to have somebody else doing this. You can take that person on the front desk and reposition them to other jobs. And now the AI can take over that job.
yeah. Well, really, the easiest thing to say is, wouldn't their most valuable amount of time be best spent on actually selling or intaking people or onboarding,
Exactly.
right? So let the
Yes.
bot tee her up for that, tee hear him,
Totally.
her or him. Gosh, I can't talk today.
Them.
Yeah, them. Have the bot tee them up for more revenue producing activities. So don't replace them. Maybe like if that's your
Yeah,
pain
no,
point,
that's what I'm saying. You just
is like right.
and this is what I always thought. You can take, I don't care if you have a sales team of 10 people. Like all of a sudden,
Yeah,
that sales team can now do the job of 20 people or 30 people because
exactly.
all of that upfront frictionally kind of like, oh, that was a wasted lead. Oh, they don't have the right credit score. Oh, they don't have a big enough deck, and they don't have this and that enough square footage. All that goes out the window. Now all they're doing is they're just sitting there waiting for the like with a hot lead, and boom, they're able to jump on it. And now you
Yep.
don't have to hire the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th person as you put the ad spend up. And a lot of businesses, I think, get to points where they look at the cost analysis and like, I can't scale any more than I've already done because I
Yeah.
just don't see how adding another person. And then if there's like a dip and it's seasonal and this and that, all of a sudden my business doesn't work. Well, these solutions come in and solve for all of that because now
Right.
they can have the same 10-person sales force and that's sustainable for them. But now they can run up the ad spend twice as much and then don't have to hire twice as many people.
Yep. And you've got the data, the conversations to prove that the source of all this goodness, right? It's like, oh, if you don't believe that this is helping, let's just open up a few of these conversations. Like, give me the name of someone that recently bought,
Totally.
boom, this is how they came in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, this is great.
Huge.
Awesome. Cool. I want to save a little time because I know you mentioned there was something else you wanted to talk
Oh
about.
yeah. So I just wanted to just do a quick sneak preview here. So, a long time ago, well, I mean, I would talk to a lot of folks about e-commerce. And, one of the first things, obviously Shopify and BigCommerce and all this stuff. And but when I really dug in on the weeds, I realized that most people don't have a store with 50,000 SKUs and need gazillions of this and all these crazy features. And then just the overhead of yet another system, I think, is always a pain in the butt. So one of the things that we're going to be dropping here later this quarter is actual full e-commerce functionality. So literally being able to go into the website builder, build out a store. Literally, here's this is the Figma that we're building out right now, and literally have this awesome ability to pull from the current product section, put it on your store page. Let me see if I've got the detail screen here. There we go. And actually be able to sell things, ship things out, all that stuff, full e-commerce functionality that you would expect from something like a Shopify. Obviously, as usual, we're going to come out with our MVP of this. But having really worked with a lot of agency owners now, what I realize is most of these sellers, again, that they don't have a warehouse full of products. They're working out of their garage or they're working out of their house, and they're really adding on. Or a lot of times you have a customer who wants to tack on e-commerce, but they don't want to swallow Shopify to try to do that. So now this is another way for you to go in and start pitching to your clients. Hey, I know you have this great business already. I know you have this awesome store or you provide this awesome service. Have you thought about adding merchandise? Have you thought about adding like a small product line? And now this will make that very accessible to them.
Yep. I used to help a massage therapy client locally, and the owner was in a part of town where the type of person that would go in there was very into like the willy-nilly stuff that accompanies like so like things like incense, candles,
Yeah,
different scents,
totally.
normal candles, like all this stuff that different types of oils. And so they were like, dude, these things sell like crazy. I was like, what is your best seller? And they were like, these disposable under eye masks that, it's like, it cost them $3. I was like, can you give one of those away? And they're like, yeah, why? And I was like, use that as a way to get people in,
Totally.
give them the free gift. And so they sold a lot more of those bestseller things. And when people bought one thing, they typically bought more than one thing.
Of
And they were like,
course.
so then they asked me, they were like, how much does it cost to get a whole e-commerce store up and running? And this is probably about 10 years ago, mind you,
Yeah,
but
right. You're like
you
a
know,
whole lot.
yeah, a ton, and I was like, I mean, do you have a 6-figure budget for that? And they're like, no. Like
Yeah.
they wanted to flick something on and have their 5 to 10 bestsellers. So when they pick up the phone, they're like, you can just buy it from our website.
Yeah, it's on our website right now. Exactly.
Right.
And that's the whole idea here. And so I think this is exactly why we're doing this. And again, most people have the vast majority, and even if you really read in on the Shopify, press announcements and things like that, the average Shopify consumer is very, very, very small. And that's the point. They don't need this overkill kind of situation. And so as an agency, again, this is another way for us to say, hey, listen, one less thing you have to have your customers buy, one less thing you have to kind of stitch together externally. And again, all of the fun stuff that'll come with this. We have so much of this already in the system, the ability to do things like, shopping cart abandonment emails and, being able to send product announcements and coupons and all of the things that you can sort of sculpt around this as an agency. And again, scale this out for your customers. And I think it's just a great way for you to attack your existing client base. And I'll tell you a funny story. That HVAC guy, he was all over trying to start an e-com store because we get a lot of forest fires around here, unfortunately now. And he had a lot of clients calling in and asking him to sell them like air purifiers and that sort of thing. And he kept recommending like, yo, to Costco, go here. And he had decided, you know what, that's it. I'm going to sell these things direct to my clients. And he has this big list, right? I mean, to his credit, I mean, I laugh, but to his credit, he has a 10,000 person customer list. And it's a great way for him to say, hey, by the way, we're now selling these. And by the way, we'll service them and this and that. And I think he would have gotten a reasonable response and it would have been worth doing. And it could have been a great way to reactivate some of those clients. So, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. And I think like the realization everyone should have here, I think, is that the creator economy is like full blown where we're at now. Right. So, his ability to just go, oh, I see a need. I'm going to turn into a mini creator, go source these goods and sell them, really fast. That's here, y'all. Like, I was really curious what you were going to say next. Cause I was like, what's it going to sell? Like t-shirts, merch, like put your forest fire out, like make it funny. I don't know, but that's genius. It's like all these people are asking for purifiers. He may as well retail to them and then sign them up for service as well as another stream of revenue.
Precisely.
Right?
And that's the idea. I think there's so many opportunities in life where people just say, hey, I've got the solution to this problem. And if you get enough people who say, oh, okay, I actually do have that problem. I was thinking about solving it, but you've made it so much easier for me. Click, I trust you. I know you. I'm just going to buy it from you. And I think the same thing for a massage client. I mean, you're in there, oh, wow, what's that cream? Oh, it smells really nice. Oh, well, actually, it's this. We sell it on our website. Yeah. Go buy it and bada bing, bada boom.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool, Shaun. Awesome. Any parting words? I know that we kind of covered like how to make money with AI, sort of what's coming down the pipe. Any parting words, I guess, for people who are SaaSpreneurs or aspiring SaaSpreneurs, building on their system? Yeah.
Gosh, it's easier than ever to really make these things happen. And, our mission in life is to try to make this as simple as possible. One of the big things I would say is, while HighLevel itself as a platform has a lot of options, please don't feel like you need to know them all, learn them all, or ever even use them all. Start with one silly thing, go out, focus on making the sale. And if you can make that sale, magic happens after that. We have setup teams and all kinds of people, but the sale is where it starts and it's always simple. So, back to Robb's original point, it's really about saying, hey, what can I sell that's $300, 400, 500 a month. It's one feature that's super scalable. I can sell to 100 people tomorrow, that kind of thing. And that truly, to me, is what you need to focus on. If you do that, you'll be successful. And I promise, if you want to do more complex things later, if you want to get into a niche later, if you want to, whatever, I swear you're not limiting yourself. You can still do all of those things. But if you don't make those first sales, if you don't create a sustainable system, you go nowhere. You ultimately just quit in frustration. And it's not because the system is too hard or you didn't learn something to set up something. It's because you're not making any money. So start with a sale. That's the most important thing.
I love it. Final question, because this is a good little piggyback. What are you seeing the most successful people do with their white labels that maybe others are not, right? Like what are you seeing the most successful people do consistently?
Okay, so I always answer this question now the same, because I think there's stages, right? So if you're listening to this, you first ask yourself where you're at. So if you're in the very beginning stage, which is the vast majority of people, let's talk about how to be successful there. It's doing the simple, stupid, not sexy stuff first. It's saying, what product am I going to sell? How am I going to sell it to every local business around me, because they're the easiest people to get to. They're the most likely that you know someone already in that community. They're the most likely to create a connection with them, because you can even say things like, hey, wasn't that storm yesterday so crazy? I can't believe that. Yeah, creates connection. They're the easiest thing to scale to. So really, honestly, the people who are successful upfront are focused on making a sale to their local community as fast as possible with the simplest solution that's the most scalable. So that, to me, is where I see the most failure up front. Later on, I would say it sort of continues that way, which is just, hey, how do I not, as I grow, let's say that I get to 20 clients, 30 clients, 100 clients, 500 clients, just create so much chaos by opening up the doors of customization and doing things crazy like websites. Just make sure you're keeping a boxed product. And yes, you'll have plan A and plan B and plan C, and those have more features, and that's fine, but they're standardized all the way through. You're creating support mechanisms around them, and you're charging enough money per month that you can actually, and this is important as you scale, imagine you don't want to support everybody every day, and you can't, and you're going to get so big, that's not possible. Are you charging enough? So some people will cut themselves to the bone and think it's software, so you can sell it for $3 a month and be successful. You just can't. You need to have enough money and margin to hire people, to answer questions and help people as you scale. So for those of you who are in the later stages, it's really about keeping that tight.
Gotcha. Or if you're like me, you just stay on option one until filthy freaking rich.
And that's the funny part about option one. Option one is, you get to $1 million plus a year in revenue on option one, and you're super happy because, you don't really need that. I mean,
there's not much to worry about.
Some of us need more, but most of us would be quite happy with that. And so that's fine. And that's the great thing about it. You have an awesome business. It's scalable. It's an asset that you're growing, but you also don't have to go, crazy max it out to be super happy with the outcome.
Yep. Indeed. I love it, Shaun. Dude, thank you so much for your time. I know you're crazy busy. It always provides value to people. I hear it on YouTube and our groups and your group. Like, everyone's always like, that was so stinking helpful, Robb. Please do this once a quarter with Shaun. So I really appreciate you sort of giving us the juicy details and using us as an outlet. And we're happy to do it as often as you're willing to hop on. Yeah, man. Okay.
All right.
You get after it. You go make goodness happen and manage your 600 employees. We'll take care of the rest over here. We're going to go sell some AI.
I like it.
All right, man.
Right.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Shaun.